Hey guys, welcome to Ryan's Running Reviews. Today we're going to take a look at one of Mizuno's most popular models. It's the Wave Rider 26. Let's run with it. Before we get started, I do want to say these shoes were provided to me by Roadrunner Sports. However, they didn't have a chance to preview this video, and this file synopsis is my own. I'd also like to say please leave a like on the video and consider subscribing. Here we go. The Wave Rider 26 is Mizuno's flagship premium neutral daily trainer, kind of designed to handle it all. It has a lot of solid materials and has been a fan favorite for people who like Mizuno. Got a lot of updates to talk about here. This shoe costs $140 and did gain a little bit of weight this year, going up roughly half an ounce, now coming in at 10 ounces. Now, even though we did go up in weight, we did get a little bit more in stack height. Still has that 12 millimeter drop. However, the stack height did improve 2 more millimeters, now having 38.5 millimeters in the heel and at 26.5 in the forefoot. The 2 more millimeters added to the stack height gets us about 17% more volume to the midsole in total. And this year they did change the composition. It's now 100% Enerzy Foam. Last year I believe it was a dual density setup, while they have streamlined that and just made it all Enerzy this year. And of course, because this is the Wave Rider, it does feature that Wave plate. If you're a fan of Mizuno, you already know all about this, but if you're not, let me explain. Basically, it's a plastic plate that runs from the back of the shoe about to the midfoot. You can see here, it's the gold piece that extends on the lateral side. You can see it here in the heel cutout and again here on the lateral side. This allows the energy to be dispersed across all that foam, gives you a little bit more of a stable experience, and it's a little bit different from most other plated shoes where most plates extend through the forefoot and kind of help with that rocker sensation, where this one again primarily stays towards the back and midfoot of the shoe to give you that stable landing. So how did this new thicker midsole feel? Well, I was actually quite surprised. It was a little bit firmer than I expected for a shoe that has almost 40 millimeters of stack height. Now, it does have a moderate level of cushioning, but it's a little bit less soft than it actually looks, and I think that's for a couple of reasons. The first reason is they took away the flex screws and added more rubber coverage under the forefoot to make the shoe a little bit snappier. It makes the shoe a little bit stiffer compared to the predecessor. However, when you add this much rubber coverage here, it contains the foam a bit more and makes it less expressive. And on top of that, you also have the Wave Rider plate, or that plastic plate that goes through the back half of the shoe. Now, you have almost 40 millimeters of stack height in the back half, but you don't necessarily feel all that because the plastic plate does provide a little bit of guidance and does dampen the experience just a bit. So with all that being said, this is a more moderately cushioned max cushion shoe. It doesn't have a whole lot of squish to it if you compare it to something at a similar stack height, which I think works better for people who want a semi-stable max cushion shoe. There's not a lot of like strict rigid stability features, but I would give this a more stable neutral shoe rating, if that makes sense. And the last thing I'll say about the midsole is you definitely notice this extended heel area. It gives you a little bit more guidance if you're a heel striker, and definitely builds upon the stability story of this being a very stable neutral shoe. Moving on to the upper, we do get a new jacquard mesh, which I found to be quite comfortable and very breathable, which was a pleasant surprise. As far as the fit goes, it definitely runs a half size small, so I recommend going up half a size compared to your normal size that you typically get. The other thing I'll say is this plastic toe guard was a little bit annoying because the transition between the upper and the plastic toe guard up here was a little bit uncomfortable. I felt like my toenail or something was just kind of rubbing the wrong way with this plastic toe guard. So maybe that gets fixed if you get that half size up, but for me, I did have an issue with the plastic support region at the top of the toe box just being a little bit uncomfortable, but I do recommend going up half a size here. As far as the width goes, I thought it was spot on. It wasn't too wide, it wasn't too narrow, it was kind of in that Goldilocks zone, at least for me. And even though the toe box was a little bit short, I found the width to be spot on again. My toes had enough room to sprawl out, and sometimes in Mizuno shoes that isn't always the case because they often will go with like a narrow or pointier toe box. But here in the Wave Rider 26, I thought the width of the toe box and the midfoot was spot on. The tongue is fully gusseted and has a moderate amount of padding. Always love a good gusseted tongue. Ankle and Achilles area, again, has a moderate amount of padding with a really well built heel counter. This thing is incredibly stiff. Now, as far as the lockdown of the shoe goes, I thought it was pretty much optimal. You get again a really well built heel counter and a very comprehensive lacing system here. So I know it does run a half size small, but I thought that the lockdown and fit was superb. Moving to the outsole, like we talked about before, you get full rubber coverage in the forefoot. The flex screws have been taken out. It's a completely different design compared to the previous version. This again is supposed to make that forefoot section a little bit stiffer and tries to make the shoe a little bit snappier. So we move to the back of the shoe. Again, you can still see that Wave Rider plate. It's that plastic piece or the golden plastic piece right in the middle of the heel section with that cutout. And then it's a similar design with a decoupled heel section towards the back. Overall, you get a ton of rubber coverage here. This should last you a while. Again, this is kind of like your workhorse daily trainer, just meant for a lot of use, and I think you're going to get a lot of use with this much rubber coverage, which again is part of the reason why this shoe does weigh 10 ounces. So overall, the Wave Rider 26 still feels very much like a Mizuno Wave Rider. It still has that heavy Mizuno influence, just now with a slightly thicker and bulkier midsole, and now all being Enerzy Foam. Now I think this shoe works really well for someone who wants a max cushion shoe that isn't overly soft and squishy and provides a moderately stable experience. So if that's you and you're a fan of Mizuno, I would definitely probably give this a try. I really do like the upper, and I would again probably size a little bit half size up so you can get that length that you need. But the width, the lockdown, the materials here, I think are spot on, and this should last you a long time, especially if you're looking for one shoe to kind of handle a ridiculous amount of miles. So let me know down in the comments, what do you think of the new Wave Rider 26? Are you a fan of the wave plate technology and what Mizuno is doing with running shoes in general? Love to hear from you, so let me know down below. Well, I'm Ryan from Ryan's Running Reviews, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Thanks.